everyone. It is Tuesday, August 15th, and there is significant breaking news from overnight. We're glad you're with us. Donald Trump has been indicted in Georgia, the former president facing 13 charges rooted in his efforts to overturn Joe Biden's 2020 election win in the state.
And it's not just Trump. 18 other defendants are named in this indictment, including his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and lawyer Rudy Giuliani. All 19 defendants now have 10 days to surrender by noon on August 25th.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. How are y'all doing today? I'm doing fine, I'll tell you. I'm doing real good. Pinkerbell, hello. Elaine Sharp, hello. Looney Tunes 9000, hiya, folks. Right back at you. Pinkerbell, hello. Oh, I said that, excuse me. Douglas, my word. Hello, Wicked Kits and Cubs, how you doing? By the way, Douglas, my shame continues, but not for much longer. I have officially purchased a Restream professional subscription, and I'm going to get it to work. I have now committed myself. I have no choice. It must work, so it's going to. But I'll be working on that because. I'm hoping to have you on and actually see your face and hear your voice. And on that note, we're going to start off the next show with a True North Eager Beaver clip. But I figured we'd do the news portion quick as we can because we all know what we're going to be talking about. Come on. It's happening, babe. Yeah, so in the state of Georgia, a gal by the name of Fawny Willis, well, she's a district attorney over in Fulton County, and what she's done, you see, is enforce the law. It's a novel thing, I know, but that's what she's done. And it turns out the person that she says that she can prove in court broke the law is Donald Trump and 18 other dingbats. Here is our beloved Brian Tyler Cohen, our beloveds Brian Tyler Cohen and Glenn Kirshner, breaking down exactly how much trouble these cats are in. Donald Trump specifically.
You're watching the legal breakdown. So, Glenn, Judge Chutkan told Trump that any inflammatory remarks would lead to a faster trial for him. Now, Trump has done.
I know. We're talking Fulton County. Hear me out. First 5 minutes.
Exactly that, with an early Monday morning tirade attacking her and Jack Smith. What do you expect should happen now?
You know, it feels like Donald Trump is walking one step closer to a jail cell every day. And when I say a jail cell, I don't mean because he's going to be convicted of a crime anytime soon. That is still sort of well off in the future. But he's going to end up in pretrial detention, sitting in a jail cell because of all of the inflammatory, threatening, intimidating, and harassing things that he's been saying and he's been posting. Much of it seems to be in violation of the pretrial release order set by Judge Chutkan.
Well, now, is there a world in which Trump's refusal to comply with these orders, aside from a sooner trial date, which seems to be almost assured at this point? It was the government who asked for a January 2nd, 2024 trial date. Given Trump's inability to control himself, it seems like that's more and more likely. But could this result in him being actually remanded to custody? Like, could he end up in jail pending trial? And what would he need to do for that to actually become a reality?
It could land him in a pretrial jail cell, and it should land him in a pretrial jail cell. The problem is there really is no playbook to follow because, based on my 30 years as a prosecutor, Brian, when I saw a defendant engage in this kind of conduct, this kind of speech, threatening and harassing witnesses, lashing out at the judge, trying to undermine the public's confidence in the fairness of the proceedings, trying to poison the jury pool, any other pretrial defendant would have been ordered into detention, into a jail cell long ago, and that is where he would sit pending trial. But with Donald Trump, it doesn't seem like the rules of convention apply. So what would he need to say? What would he need to do? What would he need?
I'll let the man finish. My God, he's earned that. But yeah, that was them talking about Chutkan and violating the rules. My understanding is that if Trump is violating the rules in Georgia, for example, that's if he's interfering, for example, with an investigation in Georgia, if he's tampering with that trial, that's not. I mean, it doesn't matter. Chutkan can still say, "Man, told you not to interfere with the court. You're going to a jail cell." But more importantly, he should not still have the opportunity to do this. And I think that's. I mean, I don't know how much clearer it needs to be made, but what is so very interesting is that Donald Trump is not giving authorities any choice but to treat him like a regular person. He's accidentally striking a major blow for the common man by showing how unfairly the common person, I should say, is treated. Because Kirshner's right. He's right. Anybody else would have been in a jail cell by now. Let's let him finish and see what the but is. But these crimes are so audacious that we have no precedent for them. Could that be it?
Need to post in order to actually land himself in jail. It seems to be an open question. Hopefully, we will know soon enough when he ends up back in court before Judge Chutkan.
Well, to that exact point, he's supposed to end up back in court on August 28th. Do you think that Judge Chutkan will order the parties to come into court sooner, given Trump's unhinged outbursts and also the need to protect the jury pool?
I think she should. I don't think you want to wait until August 28th to see how many more witnesses he might try to intimidate or how else he might try to sort of impugn Judge Chutkan's independence, her impartiality, her fitness to sit. He's using words about her in his posts and in his speech like biased, unfair, partisan, and he actually reposted that said something about she's admitted to trying to interfere in the election, in his campaign, in his ability to, be elected again in the future. All of that is flat out false. It tends to undermine the public's confidence in Judge Chutkan and in the reliability of the court proceedings. So I hope she doesn't wait until the 28th of August, which is the next scheduled status hearing. I hope she hauls him in sooner for what's called a show cause hearing. That's when a judge believes a pretrial defendant may have violated a condition of release, and the judge will order the defendant, together with his defense attorneys, to appear and show cause as to why his conditions of release shouldn't be revoked.
So let's hope that happens before the August 25th, not 28th, point at which Trump is supposed to show up in Fulton County. But this that played on MSNBC, this is
the panel to begin.
Why I am so gosh darn tickled by recent developments. Because as Kirshner and Cohen were just saying, there's a federal version of this case, essentially, already cooking. And it, to me anyway, let me keep it to what they were saying for a second. There's a federal version of this case already cooking, and Trump has not taken it seriously, and his followers have not taken it seriously because they've seen him not taking it seriously. They've seen him be disrespectful of the U.S. justice system, and they're responding in kind. Exceptions keep getting made for Trump. He keeps getting treated differently. Now check this out.
This hour, NBC's Garrett Haake, MSNBC's Katie Phang, former U.S. Attorney Chuck Rosenberg, MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin, and former FBI General Counsel
That's
Chuck
the only
Rosenberg.
one I need.
Boy, power
Rosenberg.
panel, right? But Garrett, I'm going to start with you if I can. Look, when I read this social media post by Donald Trump, he promised a large, complex, and detailed report by Monday to refute this indictment. Is it bound with footnotes and ready to go? I wondered, is his team now scrambling to come up with the report? What do we know about it?
Chris, very little. I mean, look, Tolkien wrote large, complex, and detailed volumes, too, and they were fiction. And I can't imagine that anything in this report would be anything other than that. The facts that Donald Trump says he wants here just don't exist. There weren't dead people in Georgia, or Florida for that matter, voting in the numbers that he would need to make this work. There weren't young people. There weren't out-of-state people.
Just really well put. Super well put. Tolkien also wrote a long, complex, yada, yada, and it was fiction. Yes, that is a good way to handle Trump's rambling lies. Oofa, there we go.
There weren't ballots stuffed in machines. I mean, if you go back and listen to the hour-long phone call that Donald Trump and Mark Meadows made to the Secretary of State here in Georgia, which has been kind of reduced on air so many times to that snippet about finding the 11,000 plus votes he needed to win in this state. There is every conspiracy under the sun presented at that time, more than 2 years ago now, looking for something that would provide exactly what Donald Trump describes in that Truth Social post, evidence that would exonerate him. At no point in the intervening years has that evidence been produced, and I don't anticipate it will be produced on Monday. What he's going to present in Bedminster on Monday is a huge question mark right now, but it will not be what he says it is. That simply doesn't exist.
Garrett Haake. Garrett, thank you very much. Andrew Weissman, let's talk about the scope of this indictment. I mean, 19 people in total, multiple different counts. It goes through emails and text messages and phone calls, tweets, things that taken individually don't look like criminal problems. But taken as a whole, the prosecution argues, is a criminal organization furthering a criminal effort to overturn the election. Because it's so big, is that risky for DA Fani Willis?
The answer, I'm going to be a lawyer, yes and no. So the yes is you want to present a clear, clean story that's not too complicated. This reminds me in Enron where that was complicated, and it's like, how do you present that to a jury? That's the risk. But as Fani Willis herself said about bringing a RICO charge, is that she wants to present the whole picture to the jury of what happened. And that I do think is the right approach, which is speak up to a jury. You don't have to dumb things down. You should, rely on their common sense. So here, this does encapsulate, in brief, frankly, everything that we know that happened.
Do they run a risk, though, of a jury or a juror saying, isn't it his right to try and investigate stuff? Isn't it his right to say whatever he wants?
To be continued on what Weissman is saying, or the follow-up, or whatever. I just want to talk about that first part for a second. Yeah, you run the risk of losing the forest for all the trees. What I like about the RICO charge is it is accurate above all else. When people are filing things in court. They are just formally saying things. That's all. And if they are formally describing something and it doesn't sound like the whole situation, we got a problem. So, for example, when Jack Smith, and y'all know I've had to walk back criticisms of Jack Smith enough that I am issuing this opinion with a grain of salt. But when Jack Smith filed against Trump and a bunch of DC people and focused so much on Trump, I mean, look, it was good that we were finally addressing January 6th. But the concern, I don't even want to say it's a criticism, I'm just saying the concern is that it doesn't address the fact that this was not just Donald Trump. Donald Trump cannot tie his own shoes. I would be shocked if he even know how to go about contacting people in these various states. He doesn't do work, much less grunt work. A bunch of people who were legally obligated to say, no, sir, I won't do that, very much did what he asked. Enthusiastically, it seems, did what he asked. And we got to deal with them. And we in court need to formally say, through the voice of the people, which is represented as the prosecutors here, we need to formally say what happened. At some point in some court, we had to say it. Fani Willis is the first one who's saying it. It was organized crime. It was a conspiracy to overthrow the election. That's a very serious organized crime, or rather, that's a very serious crime that this crew appears to have organized to try to pull off. But it does not change the fact that it is a case of organized crime. It is a case of a group of ne'er-do-wells, according to the prosecution, ne'er-do-welling together in a coordinated manner. And we are the victims of that crime.
Why is this criminal?
Yeah, so absolutely, it is his right to say whatever he wants publicly. As a matter of fact, the press conference that he's about to have, it might be fiction, as Garrett said. That's totally fine. That's what he's entitled to do. It's acting on it or speaking in a way that furthers a crime that is a problem. So, for instance, the charges that are making a false statement or perjury, those are pure word crimes. Those are just, and everybody under the sun knows that that's a crime. And they're prosecuted every day of the week. So it doesn't even require action. I also think the going big here, the big difference between this and what Jack Smith did is Jack Smith had unindicted co-conspirators. These are indicted co-conspirators. This is holding people to account for what they did. If you think about what the January 6th trials have been, that is holding people to account who are the foot soldiers. This is so important to the rule of law because you don't want to just look at the very top, which is Donald Trump, but what about all the enablers? It is really important that they are being held to account.
Andrew, one of the reasons that we've all been discussing and learning from you.
Andrew Weissman, well done. So to recap, great news. Tanya Chutkin is a serious judge. Jack Smith is a serious investigator. And I's are being dotted. T's are being crossed. And Fani Willis appears to be the model prosecutor, investigator, I don't know, a district attorney person in charge of making sure the law is followed. She is doing what ought to have been done real quick following the coup. I don't want to say that we're lucky to have her, because This is what we should expect from now on. From now on. When a leader does wrong. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's a Bush. I don't care if it's a Clinton. I don't care if it's a whatever the hell. Desmond Tutu. I don't care. If a leader does wrong, now we know what holding them accountable should look like, at least from the prosecutor. This is good. This is healthy. And it's if I'm being real with you, it's long overdue. Let's see what the wicked community has to say. Zix, hi folks. Those 19 defendants are going to put up so much litigation that I don't expect it to be resolved within my lifetime. Yeah, it's a fair point. I would say this. The amount of defendants actually makes me think it's going to be easier to prosecute rather than harder. There's a lot of defendants, and a lot of them are defending the same thing. And they have, quite literally, the prisoner dilemma. If none of them turn on each other, maybe they all get slightly lighter sentences. But if just one of them turns, they are all screwed. According to Fawny Willis, she can prove what she wants to prove right now. So there's 19 people there who might flip on each other. By the way, if you had to measure disloyalty in all 19 of those people, who do you think is the most disloyal? That group of comrades. If you had to measure who was the most likely between Donald Trump and the other 18 defendants, who's the most likely to screw over the others to lessen their sentence? Who do you think would be the most likely to do that? Interesting questions to muse about. But on that note, I think all of them will search for a way. As soon as it becomes clear that they don't have a hope, they will search for a way to bargain their way down, to get a lesser sentence. I think Trump is probably panicking right now as it dawns on him that there is nothing he has to offer, not really. His full punishment is necessary for the country to heal. It just is. But he might try, and the others are not going to be thinking, are not going to be operating under those same restraints. They're not going to be thinking, oh God, they gotta get me because I'm the guy. I'm the one this was all about. No, they're going to be thinking, I'm just some official from a state where people weren't really paying attention to this stuff, and I would like to go back to that, please. And I would like to spend as little time in prison as possible because it looks very scary. So, I'll tell you everything that happened, and I will literally plead with the court. I will literally plead in exchange for all the information that I should have turned over the very moment this stuff was brought to me. That's what I think is going to happen. Turn it. Flipping like pancakes. Pinker Bell, before he has to report to sentence. Oh, let's look at Stuart Brooks here. The real question is, when does Donald Trump bolt for Russia? And I think Pinker Bell nailed it. Before he has to report for sentencing. Yeah. Groove Dragon, they already have dozens of cooperating conspirators. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Anti-Corporatist, did you see Rachel Maddow's podcast on the... I don't think the deals are going to be good, is all I'm saying. I think they're going to plea and get months off rather than years. Did you? The anti-corporatist says, did you see Rachel Maddow's podcast on the America First movement in World War II? That was a trial with a ton of defendants that ended up going nowhere. I did see that. I did. That was the podcast that followed Bagman. And really, first of all, I apologize for Father Coughlin. Second of all, that was after listening to that podcast is when I started being really appreciative of the internet. One key difference between then and now is those folks didn't have the perspective of World War II, their own trials, Reagan, Nixon, Bush, and hell, even Clinton. Just about the only president I can't say definitely did something criminal in the White House is Obama. In the last, I don't know how long. That collective perspective, it makes our country the equivalent of a person looking in the mirror, I think, and not liking what they see. And the internet is that mirror. So, while I feel that all facts point to you being correct, and I am admittedly just going with my gut here, which is sometimes wildly optimistic, what can you do? I think the fact that you saw that podcast means we're in a better spot. And I think there's enough folks like you who are out there talking about this kind of thing that we will not allow ourselves to fall into that same, I was going to say pitfall, but then I used the word fall. Fall into that ditch? I don't know. Trap. To make the same mistake. There we go. Hey, we found a whole sentence. Yeah, I think because you're out there talking about this stuff, we're less likely, let's say that, we're less likely to hit that. Carter, Rex Trek says, thank you. Carter was clean. Yes, that's a fair point. Carter was, he was a good egg. The man, at the very least, you can't deny he's built a hell of a lot of houses. And he doesn't seem to have done any crimes in the White House. So that's our high water mark. Oh, God, that's really embarrassing when you think about it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, let's talk about things we can do. I'm sick of talking about Orange Mussolini. That's not even my dig. It's just a really good one. I want to talk about Rebecca Azor. Had a weird last 7 days. Saw her on the Letter Hack, and I've been binging Letter Hack interviews. That will surprise no one. Saw her on the Letter Hack last week, as he's like going through that leftist mafia group basically, and it happens to have been, like, I poked through her content a little bit, and it happens to have been at a time where this internet lefty just got hit with a random financial hardship. My understanding is basically some creditors from her college days have come calling, and as a result, just all of her money got taken. Y'all have seen, a lot of you have seen the streams I did from dog sitting, where I basically had to like set up a phone and do it out of a living room. But let me tell you, there is something super comforting about doing a stream like this and being able just to not think about anything except, you know, the topic matter at hand and what y'all are feeling about it, and knowing that if it all buckles, if it just doesn't work out, my horrible fate is to go sleep on a couch that is bigger than my actual bed. You know, I mean, when you boil down what is privilege, there it is. I mean, that's basically it. There's less consequences for the exact same set of circumstances. Now, I might even be giving myself too much credit by saying the exact same set of circumstances, because let's look at who Rebecca Azor is. She used to be a local news gal. My job used to be standing next to somebody that was doing her job. She was in the spotlight, though. She was doing, you know how I was saying yesterday, that fella, Doug, whatever, the guy in Atlanta, reporting for like 9 hours or whatever. And we watched him at hour 9, still trucking. Yeah, that was Rebecca Azor. That's what she did. But she says that it wasn't satisfying, at least in her letterhack interview. She said she felt a call to do good. So let's look at some of the content she's done. Let's start with that letterhack interview. Probably, I could have queued that up, maybe, so that it was ready to go from the jump. That's something that a professional would do. Hey, all right. Now we're going to pretend like that's what I had done the entire time. Here we go. So we're looking at Rebecca Azor's interview on the letterhack, talking about where she comes from, what it is she does, and why I think we should bail her out of a jam, which is frankly, in my humble opinion, an easy obstacle for us as a community to overcome.
I keep hearing the term, and it's probably not new. It's just I've heard it in use a lot more. Media activism or media activist. What does that mean for you in your work?
Yeah. So for me, I would say, people will say I'm an activist, and I think that's just somebody who is so close to an issue, who's in media, and who is an activist for those issues. It could be yours could be healthcare, it could be homelessness, it could be you're an activist for that issue, and you're in the media space, and sometimes you don't get to be on the field, right? So in media, you're able to use your voice to tell that story, to bring light to the issues, to get people to be aware of what's going on, and to advocate for people and the betterment, and do a call to action. So I think in media, I know it can get a little sticky because it's like, how are you an activist? You ain't doing nothing. But you truly can be. And by reaching out we have relationships with state senators, state representatives from all across the nation. And we were only able to do that because of, I would say, what we stand for, our activism. And I think that in this, they know that this is a media space. There was a time where people did not want to recognize people who were in media in the digital space as actual journalists, actual commentators, activists, as activists either. So we open doors for people. You don't have to be the most popular activist. We're going to get you on our show because we know I seen you. I saw the work you were doing. I see what you're doing outside. I see how you're able to feed the homeless and things of that sort. I see. So we want your voice on here. You're an expert on homelessness to me. I don't want just the most popular person that we're never going to be able to reach out to. We're going to have to go through 17 people to get through, so if we all band together, that's activism in itself. So
right there. She's judging who she's going to talk to based on how useful they're being, not how popular they are, not how much of a draw they'll be. And by the way, there's not even anything wrong with that necessarily. I get why a news organization has to do what they do, or why even a YouTube streamer or a Twitch streamer or whatever the hell has to do what they do. There's practical concerns to consider, and I am happy to forgive those. However, at some point, the people who are actually helping ought to be heard. And this show exists basically to make it easier to accomplish the kinds of things that the people she interviews are trying to accomplish. So I'll tell you, the idea that there is another show out there helping people make the world a better place at a time when the world is not a very good place, it's heartening. It's heartening. Let's look at the content she puts out. That's her interview with the letter hack, which, boy, what a fun time I've had binging interviews with literally my favorite podcasters. It's been a hoot. Recommend it highly. But let's look at Rebecca Azor's content. She is here on ACT TV. Whoopsie, there we are. She's here on ACT TV. I thought this was a pretty good
Lindsey Graham
breakdown of. I'm gonna change the order in which I do this now. Thought it was a pretty good breakdown of how she handles just topics. She's talking with Benjamin Dixon, and she is pointing out the ridiculousness of the things Lindsey Graham said in regards to immigrants.
Is going to be in need of some rhetorical, lyrical violence this morning, because there's a clip that he's attacking immigrants, and the way he's attacking them is one of the most insidious forms of. It's just disgusting. Run the clip for me, David.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel clerks for, well-off Brazilians who are scamming and playing a game. They've got better luggage than I do. When we went through the in-processing station, these were upscale luggage, no dirt on their shoes. They fly into Cancun. They fly to a friend or relative already in the United States. This is offensive.
Oh, my.
It is a bunch of bullshit.
No, let's keep this
Oh,
here.
really? Oh, really?
So real quick, just one thing to comment for context. That picture at the end, the picture of the shoes, he took that himself. If you look at the corner, Senator Lindsey Graham in the at the facility, he took a picture of someone's shoes.
And they're Pumas, and not to say,
and don't even have shoestrings in them.
Yeah,
she doesn't even have shoestrings in them. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
No, you're fine. There was another clip that I actually saw, and I wish we had that one instead of him talking about, the influx of Brazilians that are going to come, or people that are going to stop in
Brooklyn
Brazil,
accent,
or whatever.
They're
going to come in. They're going to come in, and they're going to be wearing like all these different name brands, and then they're going to try to come in here and take from America. So whatever conversation he was having, which is similar to what he just said, and the little heifer on the side that's laughing at the expense of people who are coming for for their freedoms, and to say for Lindsey Graham to make this statement, I don't understand why they can't fathom that people don't want to leave their countries, but because of the constant nosiness of the U.S. and the constant abuse that the U.S. does to these countries, right? So they're gonna come over here and see what the U.S. is talking about. This land of the free, right? This melting pot that is accepting and that loves everybody and that is full of different colors and all of that. They're gonna come here and try to get their freedoms. They're gonna come here and try to be safe. They're gonna come here and try to save the lives of their family. A lot of times, and I want to point out this too. A lot of times of these immigrants or these asylum seekers, a lot of times back in the day remember I told you guys we have a thing that we call the doom. And we put all these clothes in it, and they could be Pumas, they could be stuff from like a college that the people don't even go to, and we send them to our family members. And when we send them to our family members, they wear them. Okay, they put them on. So when they're traveling, they need to be clean and nice too. Who said they gotta look like what they've been through? Who said they gotta like what they've been through?
Come on, somebody.
Now,
Woo.
but this is still so dangerous for this to come out and to be a joke. It's a joke. It's funny to him. And for him to have taken this picture of somebody, who knows if that's just a regular person, probably not even going through nothing. And he's seen that and he assumes his assumptions. Not only his assumptions, but the fact that he's a prejudice. He's prejudging folks, not knowing if this person or that person is going through, but just because how the person looks, and maybe because their skin had a tinge of brown in it, they had to be somebody who was seeking asylum.
Just a drop, one drop of melanin.
A great voice on the left. Let's keep her operational. My understanding, this is a one-time expense she got hit with. It's some nonsense, and guess what? She doesn't have the privilege some of the rest of us have. Now, there's plenty of us who are out here fighting who got no privilege at all, or certainly at the bare minimum haven't gotten the opportunity to take advantage of it one way or the other. Fine. But we have an opportunity to see something that could help us. I see it in Rebecca Azor. That's a voice that could help us. The more she's out there talking about this stuff, the easier our lives will be. The more people she'll convince to vote the way that we believe is going to make your old pal Jake not need to talk so much he gets froggy. The more folks out there being convincing like that, making solid points like that, interviewing the kinds of guests she chooses to interview, the better our lives are going to be. We talk about how most of the plans for serious change that we have in this country, in the United States, I'm now talking about specifically, they involve gearing up for 2024. Getting as many votes in the primaries as we can so that the party we are working with in the general is going to be worth working hard for in the general, is going to accomplish the things we want done. And it's going to be getting the vote out in the general to stop fascism. Having her doing that for more hours between now and then is good. And we can achieve that for a relatively small amount of money. So there's a link in the description to her PayPal account. It is that simple. Give her $5, give her $10. This is a for the stuff we are talking about. For the bang for your buck in terms of time or energy or just dollars. I cannot think of a better investment than a voice like Rebecca Azor. So please, if you got $5, toss it her way. It is a gift we would be buying ourselves. Let's see what y'all have to say. Ooh, Pinkerbell. She just launched her solo channel so she can stream TLM like everyone else. We need to get her to the monetization threshold. Pinkerbell, you are quite correct. Now, I thought we were going to stop at 2 Rebecca Azor specific streams. No, ma'am. You've already done some of my work for me. Let's just keep it going. Gang, what is the most fun way? What's the most fun way we could do a giant get her to 1,000 subscribers drive? Help me spitball this. Related note, by the way, thank you for sending in suggestions of who political figures are watching. I'm keeping track of them. If there's a specific place you'd like me to post the list so far, let me know. I was thinking just pop it up on Facebook. Why not? We've got the channel. Thank you, Wicked Foxy Dragon, speaking of. But let me know. But also, with Rebecca Azor, what's the most fun way? Like, should we do like a bonus stream where we're just watching her content and trying to get up subscribers? I don't know. I'll muse on that, but we should definitely do that. Talk about a even more efficient use of time. We get her to 1,000 subscribers. Doesn't cost us anything, and yet we're helping her generate income for doing the thing that she's doing anyway. That's beautiful. Absolutely. Wicked Foxy Dragon, just post the link. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. I think just her name. Oh, there you go. All right, Wicked Foxy Dragon's on it. John Doe, primaries are important, folks. Yes, 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 yes. And the anti-corporatist saying, to be fair, rich people may very well be fleeing Brazil. Viva Lula. My man, yes, indeed. Shade Dragon, how did this lady feel about some weirdo taking feet pics of her? Exactly. Exactly. I was thinking about that during the segment. Just imagine Lindsey Graham's behavior for a moment, getting out and discreetly taking pictures of a person's feet in line. What's the matter with you, Lindsey Graham? What is the matter with you? God. John Doe, Lindsey Graham, a fellow friend of Dorothy. He's not a very good friend, I'll tell you. Yeah, Wireless Mike, the only one I see is her old channel. Latest video is from 4 years ago. To this day, WYCD doesn't always turn up first in the algorithm. I bet it's going to be hard to find her at first. I will do as much as I can on that front. I'll make it easy peasy, and we will definitely, from her new channel, we're absolutely going to run clips. And I can say that perfectly selfishly because it's good content. And the better the content, the less work I have to do. Part of the reason we don't run Fox on here is because I don't feel there's a lot worth adding to. But also, I got to pause the video every 10 seconds to be like, that isn't true. He just lied. That isn't true. He just lied. Here's my source. Here's my source. Rebecca Azor, happy to show her off on this channel, and perhaps more importantly, to provide a direct link to her channel, so we don't have to burn ourselves out trying to find her every time. Oh, y'all are the best. Rex Trek, yeah, we don't claim Miss Lindsay. All right, fair enough. Whoopsie, and I'll add in there Daisy. I've allowed this video. I've turned on autoplay, you see. Well, folks, this is what I wanted to talk with you about yesterday. But there was a minor news item that ended up taking up most of our time. But I didn't forget about it. I might be a tad late. But the good news is the problem hasn't been solved. Oh. Yeah. The good news is we're still in hell. Meant to talk about this yesterday. Trump got indicted. It's the Maui fire. Global warming, y'all. Here it is. Here's what was promised. It didn't even. Not like this happened suddenly. We've had years and years and years of increasingly bad wildfires, and now we have had the worst. Let's check out the destruction in Hawaii.
Are still underway in Hawaii after a series of devastating wildfires swept through the island of Maui. As of this morning, officials confirmed that the death toll has risen to 93, making it the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. But that number is expected to climb in the coming days as crews work to locate hundreds of residents who've been reported missing. National Guardsmen have also arrived on scene to assist with search and rescue efforts. And the island will have a long and expensive road to recovery as much of the damage is in residential areas.
There's something, and this is not a criticism of this guy. He's saying true things. There's just something deeply sad to me about the callousness of listing the tragedies off and saying it's going to be expensive. After all, it went through residential areas. When a fire tears through residential areas, the thing that comes to mind in this country, in this era, is, boy, that sounds expensive. Yeah, all right, in terms of money, I suppose it's going to cost a lot of money to rebuild those houses. How much money will it cost to resurrect the people? Put them back in the houses. This because why? Because why? We didn't want to put houses. We didn't want to fund the government having a field full of windmills. We didn't want. Why? This had to happen. Why? We keep getting a Saudi prince richer and richer off of oil money, so we could keep putting disgusting pipelines through the Great Lakes. Leaky, dangerous pipelines. So that we could keep doing that, we had to pay this price. Gasoline's too expensive. Personal opinion.
Search and rescue efforts. And the island will have a long and expensive road to recovery as much of the damage is in residential areas. Joining me now, the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green. Governor Green, thank you very much for coming to the Sunday Show.
What else are you going to hear? It was a giant wildfire. We can parse out, was it handled perfectly? I don't know. Hawaii's existed for a long time before this. Seems to have done all right. I'm sure the powers that be that convinced us that it was okay to go on driving gas-guzzling cars and letting multi-millionaires and billionaires fly around in private jets, and more to the point, fill our houses with plastic and power them needlessly with fossil fuels when we had other options. Those powers that be, I'm sure, will be looking for any minor mistake anybody else made that they can pin all the responsibility on. I'm sick to death of people not taking responsibility for this. Let's start right now. I've been alive on this planet while all this was happening, and all this happened anyway. I heard the same things you guys heard. I didn't stop these people. I'm going to work hard for 2024 so that we can actually address the problem. If it concerns you that that's a full year of not addressing the problem, me too. If you would like to do something between now and then, if you would like to help deal with this symptom, if more to the point, if you would like to help a community which just lost 100 people, if you'd like to help a community in mourning, there are links in the description for charities you can donate to. Donating money, I think, is amongst the laziest things I can bring to you. To me, that normally that feels like an insufficient solution. And I tell you here and now, it is. The true long-term solution involves winning thoroughly in 2024 to the point that we have the freedom to legislate about this. We need new laws. We need strict regulations. We need to handle this problem that requires a win in 2024. In the meantime, the consequences of not handling it can be soothed, never quite healed. That the dead aren't coming back. But at the very least, you can donate to the Red Cross. You can donate to the relief effort. Either one in Hawaii, either one is listed in the description. And you can soothe some of the suffering that these people are enduring. Groove Dragon, excited about your new electric vehicle? Thomas Edison would be too. He tried to produce electric vehicles for Ford around 1900. Yeah, we've known this was on the table for a long, long time. And by the way, I don't want to go too hard on the consumer here. It's really not mainly even the cars. It's just the fact that we have had other options and we keep choosing not to do them. That's not even it. Not that you and me keep choosing that we personally won't do them. It's that you and me keep choosing that the rich folks don't have to do them. The people who provide us electricity don't have requirements. The people who manufacture the cars, we keep allowing Republicans to get into power, knowing that Republicans will vote to let them sack the place, clean us out utterly, piss on our lawn. That is what the Republican vote is. I think people haven't really paid attention until quite recently about the details of politics. They've basically understood that to be true. Republicans will sacrifice the environment for immediate gains. There's debate over whether or not they understood the people that voted for Republicans. There's debate over whether or not they understood that those immediate gains only benefited the actual politician and their friends. But we still know, we understood the trade we were making. There was no illusion about that. So going forward, I do want to really stress it's not the consumer that will need to change their habits. It is the producers who need to be forced to produce ethically and to give us options. there should be, speaking of Ford, there should be the version of an electric car that is the Model T right now. There should be a cheap, anyone can use it, nice starter car, breaks down the normal amount but is dirt cheap to repair electric vehicle. Universal plug. Three-pronged, I don't care. Goes a whopping 70 miles an hour, top. We need those options. And it's not on you and I to go in our backyard and cobble something together. It's just on us to insist that, for example, your neoliberal Democrats get flooded with emails saying, you mother better do something about this. Ted Lieu, he's from Hawaii. At least he's heading in the right direction. Let's keep him going. Let's make that guy a true blue progressive. Oh, mercy me. The anti-corporatists, let me jump back up. Shade Dragon, I really wish I could do what a character did in a tabletop RPG Styx runs and just release a bacteria into the ocean that eats plastics. We got 86th off Earth, but it was worth it. That is literally something that's being worked on. Sorry, but that is quite literally a bacteria that eats plastic is a serious project that exists in the real world. I just don't know how far along they are. Pinkerbell, it feels like we are living every day just waiting in the gaps between ever-increasing tragedies. It's because... Oh, excuse me. That was incredibly well put. Let me read it correctly. If it feels like we are living every day just waiting in the gaps between ever-increasing tragedy, it's because we are. I did you wrong. That was really well put. Most doomer take. I'll stop. No, I mean... I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. But I do think, let's remember that we're still standing. We took those hits and we're still on our feet. Now the question is, can we swing back? I think we can. I think we are consistently proving that the left wing and the sane folks of the country, the alliance between people that care and people that are interested in self-preservation, it's stronger than those that oppose them. We need to start fighting. The metaphorically at the ballot box, for God's sake. I really got to watch my words. The anti-corporatists, it didn't even benefit the politicians, Jake, just the billionaires. When you do the math, everything else washes out. Only the billionaires truly profit. Ain't that just the truth? I do think politicians literally directly profit. But one day, historians will look back at how little they were profiting in comparison to the money they were making for billionaires, and they just won't get it. They won't get how cheap it was to buy them off. Wireless Mike says, we will need to use every conceivable energy storage solution available and utilize all sources of alternative energy production. 100%. Shade Dragon, LOL, oh, yes, I know. They found it in, I think, 3 places. One That's interesting. Well, let me jump up. Shade Dragon, I really wish we could do... Okay, so we're talking about that bacteria. All right, so you're already aware of that. You actually... It looks like you know a lot more about it than I do. Let's find out together, rest of the gang. They found it in, I think, 3 places, a bacteria that eats plastic. 1, a Japanese parking lot, of all things. She just decided to do it unilaterally after increasing the efficiency in this game to the point where single-use plastics could only exist for any amount of time in clean rooms, mad scientist types and all that. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. That sounds like an interesting game and makes disposable items make a lot more sense. The anti-corporatist, I don't know where Ted Lieu is originally from, but he represents California. He's not from Hawaii? Shoot. Oh, when I was thinking of, yeah, I'm sorry. Who's that cultist? Not Gillibrand. She was literally in a cult. Oh well. There is another right-leaning person from Hawaii, even though she's technically a Democrat. The anti-corporatists not rich enough. The billionaires are outliers, and the rest of us are screwed. Yes, we can release iron oxide. Oh yes. Anti-corporatist. Speaking of, I saw that video. That's a good one. I'm gonna condense it, but that's anti-corporatist shared a video about this. We can release iron oxide into the ocean to cause plankton blooms and get a bunch of CO2 out of that atmosphere. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, thank you, Shade Dragon. Yes, indeed, we can. We should. It looks like a practical plan. I need to hear. It doesn't matter. We will talk about this in depth on the channel. Maybe we'll do a one-off stream. Christy Zilkowski, there's a video of a family driving through huge flames, and it felt like my own heart was going to stop. The details of what happened to that poor island are unspeakable. Yeah. It's weird to have colonialism so close to the modern era. I mean, when did Hawaii become a state? 53? Not that long ago. And we're burning the place down. We're responsible for burning it down. Well, I'll tell you what. Boy, did I end this one on a bummer. But we are about, because it's a 2 for Tuesday, we are about to do an entire another stream. We're going to have that one at 11 o'clock. It will be fun. It's almost going to be a Salty Saturday. This close to a Salty Saturday, and it's happening on a Tuesday. It is nice. It is nice being able to just decide we're going to have some fun. I feel like we just had a major victory. I'm hungry for more. Let's keep it up. Thank you for joining me, y'all. We're going to have a fun stream at 11, I promise. Do please consider donating to Rebecca Azor if you are interested in financing for an incredibly small amount of money. Price of a cup of coffee and a cheeseburger. Financing long-term solutions to issues like global warming. Because that's ultimately what you will be doing by financing Rebecca Azor. If you would instead like to directly help the folks in Maui tonight, links are in the description. Check it out. You can absolutely do that. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for what you can do. I'm your old pal Jake, and I'll see you next time.